She was born in New York just after the turn of the 20th century. Elizabeth thrived in the culture of the Big Apple. Now, she'd immerse herself in vaudeville and take various stages of Broadway. Elizabeth would go on to play opposite Henry Ford on the big screen. She wanted to become a teacher, and she was, I suppose. In the years that followed, her stage and film career found a welcoming place where each week people would warm up their tube-filled television sets to watch her dispense wisdom and humor on television. And she would even make a jump from black and white to color filming techniques. Now, once this 8-season run was over, Elizabeth would find parts in movies and TV, but a decade later, she just wanted to be left alone. By 1983, Elizabeth parked her 1966 Studebaker and never drove it again. She wanted to be left alone. She craved isolation, but was so closely connected to a character in a television show, people treated Elizabeth as if she were that character. But this character was one she never liked. No, for Elizabeth, there was tension off-screen that never seemed to show up when the cameras rolled. And maybe she struggled emotionally, but Elizabeth had all the hallmarks of an introvert. She not only did not demand the limelight, she ran from it. She hid from fans. She refused to reconcile with castmates. She just wanted to be left alone. And so she was. With no one around, Elizabeth found solace in the company of 14 cats who used a basement shower stall as their litter box. The home she lived in till the time of her death was nothing like the perfect home she kept on a television show. She felt unwelcome in public and had little interest in walking outside the door of her home. When police found her, it was among a home of peeling walls, cat litter that hadn't been replaced, and in a garage a 1966 Studebaker with 4 flat tires. It wasn't as if castmates hadn't tried to reach out. They came to Elizabeth's home to try to reconcile. They were not invited in. She never opened the door to see them. She only spoke briefly through the door and sent them on their way. And this once famous matron of television chose an environment of solitude in a dark and filthy 2-story home. And at the age of 86, Elizabeth left us to wonder what might have been. Her wealth had been greatly reduced by the time of her death, and, well, what was left was left to a hospital foundation and public television. Elizabeth would even hide herself away from her own home. In the end, most of her activities were confined to a single room that became the place she would sleep, eat, and read. The rest of the house rarely visited. It was reported that contents public radio received from Elizabeth were not considered for display. They were later auctioned off to the highest bidder. Her co-stars lamented her passing. They lamented the inability to remain friends. Perhaps they never fully understood. The woman who canned kerosene pickles, was a horrible driver, had her own fictional TV cooking show, raised Opie, and was best friends with Clara Edwards in the visually visited television town of Mayberry. The reclusive actress was Frances Elizabeth Bavier. You might remember her best as Aunt Bee. History always provides the backstory.